It's NBC 26 at 10. 4 people killed in a small plane crash in southwest Wisconsin. Plus, authorities identify the pilot killed in a helicopter crash in Oshkosh. Plus, President Trump and Kim Jong-un arrive in Singapore for what some are calling a historic meeting. 4 family members were killed in a small plane that crashed in southwest Wisconsin today. Authorities say the crash killed the pilot, her daughter, and 2 grandchildren. The Greene County Sheriff's Office says it happened just a mile north of Monroe Municipal Airport. They also say the plane went down in a field and struck some trees. Witnesses say the plane caught on fire after going down. It was taking off from Kenosha Regional Airport this morning. Federal officials are investigating it at this time. And officials in Winnebago County have identified the man killed in a helicopter crash in Oshkosh yesterday. NBC 26's Juliana Falk has more.
Winnebago County officials have identified 27-year-old Jonathan Barr from Platteville, Wisconsin as the pilot. They say he was flying the helicopter before it hit a power line and crashed into the Fox River in Oshkosh near the Wisconsin Street Bridge. Officials say boaters who saw the incident tried rescuing any possible victims. They also say boat traffic was shut down for 9 hours while rescue efforts were going on. Authorities say those efforts were delayed 2 hours because the live power line fell into the water. Winnebago Sheriff's Office, Marine units, and Oshkosh Fire Department worked with the rescue services to recover the body. One person nearby says he saw the helicopter while driving.
It sounded like a car crash at first, but then it registered that it sounded more like water. So then I pulled in, I parked down there, came up here, and there was just nothing. You could tell it wasn't good. And by the time I got here, it was already under.
Officials do not believe anyone else was in the helicopter with Barr when it crashed. The investigation has been turned over to the FAA and NTSB, according to the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office. I'm Juliana Falk, NBC 26.
And to the Trump administration now, all eyes on Singapore for a historic meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. This comes after an abrupt ending to the G summit in Canada. Here's Kelly O'Donnell with more.
After a 21-hour journey, one of the most powerful symbols of the American presidency delivered Donald Trump to what he politically described as unknown territory. Hours earlier, here in Singapore, North Korean security trotted alongside the limousine as Kim Jong-un emerged from isolation and infamy to a new level of international recognition he's never known until now. Assessing his adversary, President Trump said he can size him up instantly.
I think within the first minute, I'll know. How? Just my touch, my feel. That's what I do.
The president arrived here with unexpected baggage, a fresh diplomatic dispute with U.S. friends. He lashed out on Twitter at G7 host Canada's Justin Trudeau, who complained publicly about Trump's trade policies. But the White House framed the president's angry reaction as positioning before Tuesday's meeting with Kim Jong-un.
He is not going to permit any show of weakness on the trip to negotiate with North Korea, nor should he.
So this was about North Korea?
Of course it was, in large part.
So because Trudeau said that.
Given the record of deception from North Korea over its nuclear program, Bill Richardson, who's been to North Korea 8 times, warns appearances will matter.
The only caution I would give the president is not be photographed too much with a smiling Kim Jong-un, because they use that in North Korea for dramatic propaganda purposes.
But a personal connection is what President Trump expects first, before any deal on substance.
But at a minimum, I do believe at least we'll have met each other. We will have seen each other. Hopefully we will have liked each other, and we'll start that process.
And Trump and Kim Jong-un are set to meet at 9 a.m. Tuesday in Singapore, which is 9 p.m. Monday on the U.S. East Coast. Well, it's been a little cool summer so far, so let's check in with meteorologist Gino Recchia to see what's in the store for us next. Gino.
Yeah, Mo, today wasn't feeling exactly like summer in northeast Wisconsin, but don't worry, we are expecting a nice warm-up. We're starting off the new work week with temperatures back into the 70s. We'll be cooling down into the 50s overnight tonight, but then upper 70s and plenty of sunshine with it. However, you see these wind arrows, they are blowing out of the east and northeast, so keep in mind if you're along the lakeshore, it will be a little bit cooler. And we're talking about just the cool weather in general. It is the 8 of the last 10 days, the first 10 days of the month, where we have been at or below average. We're going to change that coming up.
Thank you. And hundreds of buildings are destroyed after volcanic eruption in Hawaii. This is from the past 5 weeks. Video of lava can be seen right here going to the Pacific Ocean. It's making toxic gases and destroying homes and roads. The volcano has been erupting for nearly 40 days. It's almost 5 volcanoes that formed on Hawaii's Big Island. And smoke is also consuming parts of southwest Colorado as a wildfire sweeping across the region over the weekend, forcing people out of their homes. Officials say the blaze has burned more than 3,000 acres and shows little signs of stopping at this time. More than 700 people are working around the clock to contain that fire using helicopters and other aids as support. Now, fire officials say the wind and dry conditions continue to be part of the problem. So far, around 1,300 people have left their homes. Also in Southern California today, human rights activists rallied against the Trump administration's immigration policies. Protesters gathered at the Otay Mesa Detention Center. Last month, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions said the administration will be separating families who came into this country illegally. Now, organizers say family separation and other abuses have been going on inside.
This is not our America, and honestly, it's heartbreaking. I had a tough time, not crying. I can't believe that we're doing this. I can't believe that we are terrorizing people who came here looking for help. We're worse than the countries they left. It breaks my heart.
And some festival goers aren't too happy with rapper Eminem's performance in Bonnaroo in Tennessee. Now, during his set, sound effects similar to gunshots were heard. They were played, alarming many people in the crowd. Now, with the recent mass shootings, this also sparked a debate if this went too far. The rapper has not made any statements just yet. And covering Wisconsin now, a new study shows Wisconsin's poverty rate has also gone up. It says in 2016 it went up by more than 10%, and children were especially impacted. The study also shows a child poverty rate went up to 12%. That's a 2-point increase from 2015. A report from the University of Wisconsin says the obesity level is also up 10%. The university's medical school states the obesity level statewide is more than 30%. The report used data from doctor visits. And hundreds gathered at City Park in Appleton today for this year's Juneteenth celebration. Now, Juneteenth commemorates the ending of slavery in the United States. The event was hosted by the African Heritage Incorporated, an organization providing a support system for the African American community. They're celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. Organizers say the event is for fun and also learning.
It's also for everybody to come together as human beings to engage in cross-cultural conversations with each other.
And the events also featured dozens of vendors as well as a traveling exhibit. And after 30 years of service, Chilton Fire Department Chief Gary Halbach is retiring today. A party was thrown for him earlier, as you can see right there. He says the moment was bittersweet and he will miss the bond he developed with all of his colleagues. He'll cherish all the great memories he made during his time with the department, but he's excited about what's ahead.
Spend more time in Algoma. I've got a permanent campsite up there, so spend more time up there and with my family, my sons.
And 13 of his 30 years were as fire chief. And here's also a sweet way to show appreciation for your local law enforcement. 10-year-old Tyler Carrick from Florida is known as the Donut Boy, thanking police officers across the country by hand-delivering donuts to them. This started a couple of years ago when he saw sheriff's deputies at a store and decided to buy them donuts.
When I gave them to them, they were really excited and happy. And when I was leaving, I asked my mom, why were they so happy over a snack? Because they get snacks all the time.
And Tyler's not ready to stop his mission just yet, but he is ready to start with a new snack. We'll still ahead on NBC 26 at 10. Getting a hole-in-one is tough, and one Wisconsin 10-year-old managed to do it, but not on the golf course. It also involves a squirrel. That's right, you heard that correctly. You'll see that story after the break. But first, what's the weather going to look like for the work week? Your forecasts coming up.
And now, your NBC 26 Storm Shield forecast with meteorologist Gino Recchia.
Pretty cloudy, a little dreary perhaps outside today as temperatures were struggling to even get close to what our averages are supposed to be this time of year. But don't worry, if you're wanting some warmer weather, it is heading in our way. We'll be gradually warming up into the 70s and 80s and maybe even see a close towards 90 degrees by the weekend. It all depends if we do have some showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon hours. 65 degrees in Green Bay right now. Winds out of the northeast at 8 miles per hour. Our sunset this evening at 8:37 p.m. and that sunlight will continue to grow until summer solstice, which is not too far away from us right now. 50s along the lakeshore from Kewaunee down towards Sheboygan, 60 in Anago, 67 in Oshkosh, and 65 in Fond du Lac. Winds are remaining out of the northeast. They've been pretty persistent at that direction since Friday. It doesn't look like they're moving any direction anytime soon. But what we will be seeing is a change in our weather, especially those temperatures. We've been kind of in a cool weather pattern, but mild and warm air will start to transport from the west, and that's why we will warm up into the 80s and maybe close towards 90 degrees by next weekend. It'll really be tough, but you see all these oranges and reds transporting into the upper Midwest. That's that warm air that we'll be monitoring as we get towards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Skies, they finally are clearing. We're expecting the cloud cover to gradually decrease overnight tonight. The storm system down south is responsible from that, but that's moving off to the east. There are severe thunderstorms, a couple tornado warnings in parts of Indiana earlier today, but this high pressure has been just strong enough to keep any of that moisture away from us, besides maybe an isolated sprinkle during the afternoon hours. But Storm Shield radar not showing much for the time being. Skycast will allow us to enjoy some sunshine tomorrow. You see how we're pretty cloud free during the day, but watch what happens as we get towards the afternoon and evening. A cold front will make its way eastward, and with it we do have the chance of some showers and maybe even some thunderstorms as we get during the day on Tuesday as that front passes through. But temperatures, not much of a cool down behind it, will still be remaining in the 70s. Now, rainfall not looking the best. I know we've been seeing some pretty dry patches, grass getting a little yellow. Our latest data is showing that there might be a few spots that hit around a tenth, or I should say maybe even a quarter to a third of an inch of rainfall, but a lot of areas likely to be missing out once again. 55 overnight tonight, east and northeast winds remaining at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, getting up to 15 miles per hour tomorrow with highs back into the upper 70s. 80 degrees returns on Wednesday. Sunshine as well. We will not see any chance of rainfall on Wednesday, but then as we get towards the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, as warm air continues to warm up, well, with it, more moisture and a chance of some afternoon showers and thunderstorms. But that looks like more like a summer-like forecast.
Hey, I remember what that summer thing was. There you go.
There you go. Fresh reminder.
Gino found it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for bringing it back.
You got it.
Thank you so much. We'll still ahead on NBC 26. Getting a hole-in-one is tough, and one Wisconsin 10-year-old managed to do it, but not on the golf course. It also involves a squirrel. See the story when we come back. Welcome back. Beards are back in style, and some people are making a competition out of them. In Paris, more than 60 people competed for the second championship of beards yesterday. The competition was done in 6 categories. One of the judges, Gary Faulkner, who is from Ohio, says it's all about creativity.
I personally like just seeing what the guys create on their own. It's the hardest category to win. So I respect the category the most. If you can get creative and come up with a unique design, that's what it's all about.
It's very intense. Faulkner is the National Beard Champion of the U.S. in the freestyle category. And back here in Wisconsin, one boy managed to save a squirrel who had a soda can stuck on its head. Boyd Hubert has more on how this happened.
I just like to train and get better.
12-year-old Ian Magnuson will spend a good share of his summer trying to hit holes.
The middle one's a 5-hole. Oh, yes.
But a hole in a Pepsi can.
Oh, no, it's stuck in its head.
Proved more daunting.
Yo, chill. I saw a squirrel with a can on its head.
Ian had heard the rattling from his bedroom window and did what came naturally.
It's okay. I want to help you.
He is a really kind-hearted person, and when I got halfway through the video, I'm like, he's not going to stop till he saves that squirrel.
Listen. It's okay. Stop moving.
The squirrel, unfortunately,
stop moving,
did not speak Ian's language.
And you don't speak squirrel?
No, I don't.
If he hadn't caught that squirrel, we would have been up that night worrying about the squirrel with him.
All night.
All night.
Okay. I want to help you. Stop. Stop.
On it went for several minutes.
After a few tries, I almost gave up, but then the last try, I got it. I had its belly in my hand, and then I just twisted the can a little bit, and then pulled. I got it.
Wait, you had the squirrel in your hands?
Yeah, it had little claws and it scratched me a little bit, but no damage done. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. He looked around a little bit, and then he just sprinted toward the bushes.
I said, what made you think to record it? And he said, well, it's like once in a lifetime thing.
It's weird touching a squirrel for the first time. Its heart was beating really, really fast.
Just a little faster than Ian's.
I want to help you.
Call it Ian's hole-in-one.
I got it. I just finally saved an animal. It felt good.
Fascinating. Well, if you still can't think of what to get your old man on Father's Day, the Green Bay Packers can help you out. Dads will get into the Packers Hall of Fame for free on Father's Day. You'll also find the discounts at the Lambeau Atrium, including 15% off purchases at the Pro Shop. And that's going to do it for me tonight, but don't go anywhere.